Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Viewers, in the last 48 hours, Pakistan has witnessed widespread violence, especially in the heart of its capital, Islamabad. Protests broke out in the city after Imran Khan's party workers hit the streets demanding his release from jail. But the larger trouble for Pakistan now is the timing of this violent protest. Remember that this comes just months ahead of the ICC Champions Trophy scheduled early next year. India has already voiced its concerns over playing in Pakistan, citing security concerns. Just days earlier, the Sri Lanka A cricket team also cancelled their tour to Pakistan midway owing to the political protests. Top sources have told Times now that the ICC will hold a key meeting on the Champions Trophy tomorrow, and the cricketing body is likely to propose a hybrid model for the tournament. ICC is likely to cite BCCI's objections regarding the security situation in Pakistan and pushing for a hybrid model as well. However, if Pakistan rejects the idea, then the ICC board may take a decision based on a vote. Now, viewers, security concerns for visiting international teams is not a new worry in Pakistan. In the past, there have been instances when international teams have had a close shave, leading one to ask that is Pakistan safe for cricket at all? Let's take a quick look at some of those instances. The first one we're talking about is when international teams have had a close shave in 2002, for instance, when New Zealand's cricket team was touring in Pakistan. Now, this is when a bomb went off outside the hotel, killing 12 players, and of course, killing 12 individuals. The players were unscathed in the bombing, but New Zealand's board had called the team back at that point of time. This is as far as the 2002 incident is concerned. We're also taking a look at what happened in March 2009, where we saw scary scenes of a Lankan team that was on its way to the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. The team bus was intercepted by a dozen terrorists at that point of time, and the terrorists fired at the bus, killing at least 8 people at that point of time. The 60 members were also wounded in that attack. Those famous pictures, of course, many of the viewers would recall, had sent shockwaves across the world. We'd seen in 2021 as well, in September, New Zealand abandoned its cricket tour of Pakistan as it was wary of being attacked at the Rawalpindi Stadium. This was in 2021 that this incident took place, where New Zealand cancelled the tour moments before the start of the ODI series. It didn't reveal the nature of the security alert from its government at that point of time. But this really is a pattern that we've seen time and again coming in as far as Pakistan and cricket are concerned. There's some breaking news coming in at this point of time. Now, 3 options will be on the table when the ICC board meets tomorrow. The first option is a hybrid one, where a majority of matches are played in Pakistan, but those involving India are played outside Pakistan. Option 2 is that the tournament is played entirely outside of Pakistan, with the option of the PCB retaining hosting rights. The third option is that the entire event is played in Pakistan but without India. Let's take a quick look, in fact, at Karishma, who's joining us live at this point of time. Karishma, what's the possibility at all that there would be a Champions Trophy held without India? The possibility of that seems remote, and therefore it does seem that Pakistan will have to back down on its demand of not going for a hybrid model, because that's what ICC is most likely to decide in favor of.
Well, it's absolutely, Madhav. The possibility of holding Champions Trophy 2025 without India is second to none. In fact, there is a larger possibility of completely pulling out of Pakistan the Champions Trophy and hosting it without Pakistan rather than without India. But yes, the broadcasters would want an India versus Pakistan match in the group game, and then if it were to progress to the knockout game. But as far as the meeting on the 29th of November is concerned, as we have been reporting through the week, the hybrid model is something that is going to be proposed by the International Cricket Council, and something that is very, very likely that PCB should accept, because if they don't, then the financial repercussions are going to be immense as far as the Pakistan Cricket Board is concerned. And another interesting angle to all of this is the stadiums that PCB is talking about, like the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. It is still not completely renovated. There are 2 months to go to the Champions Trophy, but there are checks and balances that the ICC carries out. They are saying that they will ensure that the stadium is completely renovated, but it is just 2 months to go. Why are the stadiums not ready? Why is the infrastructure not ready if you are so worried about holding Champions Trophy? But having said that, India under no circumstances will travel, and that will be made very, very clear tomorrow.
All right. Thanks so much for that quick update there, Karishma, getting us the latest as far as tomorrow's crucial ICC meet is concerned. Thanks so much for that update there, Karishma. Let's take this across to our guest now.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, is with us. Sushant Sareen is Senior Fellow of ORF. We have Ranjit Bajaj, sports enthusiast, joining us. With us also is Faraz Saeed, Pakistan journalist. Joining us also is Kamar Chima, political analyst. Kamar Chima, recent days of violent protests appear to have had a massive cost. And this time, the cost could be the Champions Trophy. All depends on what ICC finally decides tomorrow, with the possibility of them accepting Pakistan's demand to not host it in a hybrid mode seems to be rather remote, is what sources are indicating to us.
Well, I think the most important thing is that we have seen violence yesterday in UP. Internet was shut down, schools were shut. So violence should not be taken as a clue, one thing. The second most important thing is that, yes, India is using cricket as a coercive tool. It's a coercion. For example, if you remember, there was a time the IPL said that we are not going to auction the Pakistani team, Pakistani cricketers. Now the Bangladesh cricketers are not going to be auctioned because Bangladesh doesn't enjoy good relations with India. So now the Indian cricket team cannot go to Pakistan because we don't have good relations with Pakistan. So the way Donald Trump is saying, I'm going to go for trade wars, India is saying, I'm going to go for, cricket wars. We are going to go
Kamar,
for...
there's a very, very big difference. It's not about just trade or violence. India has a policy of talks and terror not going on, and cricketing ties and terror not going on. I think there's a marked difference there. And also, it's not like there were shoot-at-sight orders for the army that were issued any part of India in the last several hours. And also the fact that it is terror organizations that are running riot in Pakistan. That doesn't seem to be the case here in India at the moment. Let me get in Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, is there even a comparison to be drawn here? Would you like to respond to Kamar Chima?
No. First of all, good evening, Madhav, and good evening to my fellow panelists. With profound grief, I declare that age has, I'm afraid, blunted Sushant Sareen. There was a time when he would respond in kind to Mr. Chima, but now he just merely smiles. I don't know what has happened to this world. But be that as it may, the fact of the matter is, as you correctly said, Pakistan is a terror state. It's not a question of periodic violence or we're not having cricket relations. I'm sorry, Mr. Chima, your state is a terror state. And we should not have.
So
next thing you would say is we should go and play...
India? Who else talks that other than India?
Mr. Chima, nobody interrupted you. Let him have his say also. We allowed you to say what you wanted to. Now let others also speak, please. Yeah.
Yes. So, and there are two very brief points out here. I'd like to go a little bit more philosophical than the current one because very too quick. As for the so-called armchair holier-than-thou activists out here, when Russia attacks Ukraine, ban ordinary Russians from football tournaments and singing contests. But when Pakistan attacks India, kills our jawans, launches terror attack on our parliament, on our cities, hey, come on, be sensible. Allow ordinary Pakistanis to play cricket and act and sing in Indian films and ask to go there. Look, I disagree with those who say politics should not enter sports. Of course. Politics is of many hues, but I'm talking of one that takes a principled, moral, ethical stand and not a tit-for-tat like what the USA did with Soviet Union, indulged in boycotting the Olympics for the Afghanistan and Grenada invasion respectively. Madhav, tell me, did we trade with apartheid South Africa for 40 years, at that time one of the richest economies? No. Even though the guardians of human rights, America and Britain did. Did we play cricket with South Africa for 40 years, even though England did? So why didn't we? Because we took a principled, moral, ethical stand. We took a political decision. We didn't consider all the whites of South Africa as evil. In fact, we eulogized Dr. Christian Barnard and Nadine Gordimer. We were against their government and state establishment. The same is the case with Pakistan. Madhav, perhaps the only time I am prepared to believe in bad karma is when I see the kind of neighbor we have in Pakistan. कुछ तो गलत किया होगा हम लोगों ने पिछले जन्म में जो हमें ऐसा नेबर मिला.
Go 200 miles away from Pakistan if you can go. किसी ने रोका है आपको?
पाकिस्तान आने वाला है हमारे पास सब.
ओ भाई ये तो आपके ख्वाब है ना. ये तो hawks in India have been saying this for decades. You are not a new, you just born maybe 40 years back, but the hawks in India have been saying since 77 years.
Sir, forget the hawks. यहाँ पे चिड़िया ICC ट्रॉफी लेके चली गई आपसे, चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी. हॉक्स को तो छोड़ दीजिए. कोई और चिड़िया वहाँ पे लेके चली गई यहाँ से, and that is the चिड़िया of terror. But let me quickly bring in fact, Faraz Saeed also. Faraz Saeed, the larger question is this. The larger question is that the state propounded policy of terror appears to be hurting Pakistan and embarrassing Pakistan at a time when the economy is in doldrums, at a time when there is, of course, all sorts of protest, violence taking place. Now, even something as basic as the Champions Trophy, clearly the ICC feels that you're not in a position to host.
No, it's not the ICC that thinks that Pakistan is not in a position to host the Champions Trophy. Of course, it's the bigger India, which and it's BCCI which wants the tournament not to happen in Pakistan, and of course, it's the BJP government which is pushing BCCI to take up that stand, and it is not something new. And the political violence that you're quoting is, of course, happened this week, but we've been hearing this news for past good 6-7 months that that BCCI would not play in Pakistan the Champions Trophy. So it's been a state policy from the Indian side, regardless of the situation that goes in Pakistan. And we have seen precedents where there have been scattered violences in parts of the countries, but still international tournaments do take place. I mean, Manipur incident and Manipur violence is still ongoing, but global teams are coming to India. We saw Kisan movement, a massive Kisan movement, and then again a massive...
Sir, Manipur is not the national capital of India. There may have been violence. There's no denying the fact that there's been violence, but matches are not being played in Manipur. What is the comparison here that you're trying to draw? Ranjit Bajaj, is there any comparison at all? This seems so forced that there is some violence in the corner of UP, and therefore there is UP and Pakistan, India and Pakistan are the same. What kind of logic is this?
Yeah. I mean.
Good evening, Madhav. Thank you for having me. And first of all, let me just come to just this point that obviously there is no comparison. That is the national capital where Osama bin Laden has been living in the military compound of the generals, and where you have. Where you actually have people supporting terrorists from training Taliban 20 years ago, and now they are fighting against the Taliban in Afghanistan. They've got Chinese support and they've got money from China. Now they're killing Chinese on their territory.
Faraz, wait for your turn.
They've been trying to
spoken.
sneak into Iran, and Iranians are killing them. The US supported them with billions of dollars. They've been supported with the US with billions of dollars just for one thing, that let's find Osama bin Laden and kill the biggest terrorist there is. And guess where he was? In the national capital of Pakistan. Now, just this incident which is happening in Pakistan right now is not the reason we should not be going there. This is just the icing on the cake which proves our policy right. Now, what happened in Manipur and what happened there is known as actually living with different communities and problems flaring up. Very big difference when your own country, your own people hate you. For example, right now, Balochistan, which is the 50% of the country, hates the hell out of everybody there. Why? Because they don't consider themselves Pakistani. None of the Indians living in India have said we don't consider ourselves India and we want not to be Indian. Okay, whereas every person there wants to apparently be saying that is now leaving the country. Also, the people who they have got shoot at sight orders in Islamabad for, the army is not saying shoot at sight for terrorists. They are saying shoot at sight at their own citizens. So if their own citizens are not safe in their own country, obviously we can never be safe in their country.
Kamar Chima, respond to that. If the shooter set orders are for citizens, then how safe will foreigners be and the foreign players be? Because there have been so many attacks that I've just read out that have happened, whether it's Sri Lanka, whether it's New Zealand, pulling out because of a threat. Several other teams that have faced similar security issues in the past. It's not without precedent.
The question is that how a nation deals with the miscreants. That's the question. For example, if a civilians who are coming for a protest, that's fine. But if civilians are coming with the guns, so monopoly over violence lies with the state only. So it's not something any individual can pick a gun and say that I'm going for a protest in Islamabad, or you are. When the farmers, farmers from Punjab were going to Delhi, had they had guns in the hand, how would you have responded to that? Definitely, you would have responded in a different way.
But that's the whole point. That's the whole point. They don't have guns. Kamar Chima, one second. Kamar Chima, this is exactly the problem. You will give any example to try and justify the actions over there. Bottom line is, there have been serious terror attacks on cricket teams in Pakistan. And that hasn't happened in any other country to the best of my knowledge. Sushant Sareen, please respond to Kamar Chima. I mean, all sorts of examples are being given. But the hard facts speak for themselves. Pakistan is unsafe for its citizens, for foreigners and particularly for cricket teams, and there's a track record of 2 decades to show for that.
Has it happened now?
Pakistan. Number one, the lockdown was not just in the Pakistan's national capital. Virtually the whole of Punjab and the whole of KP was in a lockdown mode. People could not venture out even in Lahore. So that is what it is. And to say that the Indian decision had been taken earlier, that was simply because we understand how volatile the situation is in Pakistan. And therefore had the whole country can come to a standstill. But number two, there is a complete internet lockdown, not just in a place where some political demonstration is taking place. There is a complete internet lockdown. It's almost like they made it into another China or North Korea. That's what's happened. Number three, look, there is a very serious terrorist problem. But that terrorist problem actually becomes even bigger for an Indian cricket. Because when the Pakistanis say that, look, but we ensure we will give you security, there is no personnel reliability program as far as the Pakistani security forces are concerned. Many of them have actually been involved in killing people themselves. So how do you expect any Indian cricket team to be secure in Pakistan? And then there is, of course, the whole question of that, yes, and I don't see any reason why we should be apologetic about. If they can hold a cricket tournament without India, go ahead, hold it. My guess, you simply will not get paid for it. And if I have a certain leverage over them, even if it's for purposes of real politics, and make the point which Anand was saying that we need to make that point, why should I not use that leverage? Why should I be embarrassed to use a leverage which I have? Why should I not use... Look, and I think what is important is, for decades, the Pakistanis used to, constantly abuse India, constantly go after India, constantly badger India. And a lot of us engage with them at one point in time. We used to tell them that fear the day when the Indians start dealing with you at the same level at which you deal with us. And now that that day has come, look at these guys. So we don't want to come to you. We don't want to come and play in Pakistan because it's not safe for our cricketers. And we think that, yes, if this is a move that is going to punish you, then why should we not use this?
Absolutely.
I feel no reason to be apologetic about what the government of India has.
Absolutely. Sushant Sireen, I think you hit the nail on the head. At the end of the day, it's for India, and as Karishma, our reporter, was telling us a short while earlier, it's highly unlikely that the ICC would host a tournament without India. They're more likely to shift the tournament out of Pakistan itself. That's the more likely possibility. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining.